2 years ago, Mitsubishi waved adios to Europe, around the same time that it also waved goodbye to the Pajero, pretty much the heart of all of its output for decades. That brought to an end a story begun by the arrival in the UK of the Colt Car Company in 1974. Over the years, Colt, which would become Mitsubishi UK, had its ups and its downs. Several downs. But it also produced some properly great cars. And here are just a few of our favourites. And if you do enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a like, and you can subscribe to the channel and make sure you see everything that we do, and then hit the bell icon just to make doubly sure, because YouTube can be tricky. And we'll start with a car with a very, very long name. When Mitsubishi arrived in the UK, it was at a time when Japanese cars were pretty much alien to most drivers in the UK. Named Colt rather than Mitsubishi, it launched onto UK soil with two models, the rear-wheel drive Lancer Saloon and the larger Galant, both names which would become familiar. Both were humble but worthy, and never really going to set the world of motoring enthusiasts on fire. A year later though, in 1975, Colt took a look over at Japan and saw that its homeland cousins were building an aggressive coupe with a complicated name. Based on the Galant, the GTO GSR Coupe looked a little bit like a Mustang if you closed your eyes, and was aimed right at the Toyota Celica. Over here, it looked like a pretty perfect rival for the Capri or the Opel Manta, so Colt imported them and sold them at a wildly ambitious £3,000 a shot, which was 20% more than even the Celica. The GTO GSR was powered by a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine producing 115 horsepower. It had high-backed bucket sport seats, a dual honeycomb grille, and aggressive bolt-on wheel arch extensions. But a mixture of Mitsubishi's still unfamiliar name and that pretty high price meant barely any were actually sold in the UK. Just a couple of years after arriving in the UK, Mitsubishi abandoned the first Galant in favour of a larger version, which was to be more modern and more appealing. From that spawned the Sapporo, a big American-style pillarless cruiser coupe ready for the US markets, where it would be sold as the new Dodge Challenger. In the UK, that kind of big and expensive to run coupe was great for grabbing attention, but not exactly brilliant for sales. So, Colt elected to also import a run of smaller Mitsubishi coupe models in the form of the Lancer-based Celeste. It was fitted at first with a rather lamentable 1.6-litre engine, and while pretty, it wasn't exactly really up to challenging the latest Capri, or even the Morris Marina. It was firmly aimed at those who were looking for coupe looks, and didn't really care about the driving. However, in 1978, it was blessed with a 2-litre engine producing 105 horsepower, finally adding some proper performance to those attractive looks. Sadly, even with a vivid gold special edition named after the Grand National arriving in 1980, the Celeste was not to begin a run of stunning sports coupes from Mitsubishi. It was instead replaced by the wildly dull and front-wheel drive Cordia in 1982. Turbocharging became the big thing to do to your cars through the late 1970s and early 1980s. Although this was proper old-school turbocharging, the kind that gives you all the power you could ever want for about 4 seconds until you needed to change gear. Following in the footsteps of Saab, BMW and Renault, Mitsubishi decided that adding a turbo to both the engine and the name of one of its models was the way to win more sales. The car it chose was the Lancer EX Saloon. The result was the Colt Lancer EX 2000 Turbo, which was to trade as a cool niche performance model, and for some reason that you could only buy in black or white. The base Saloon already had quite a nice clean design, reasonably reminiscent of the European offerings of the time, and it gained an intercooled 2-litre engine and, more importantly, 160 horsepower, giving it some proper stats. It could do 124 miles an hour. Unlike the bolt-on arches of the GTO GST, the visual performance additions were more subtle. The EX Turbo got front and rear spoilers, restrained alloy wheels and some moderate arch flares. It was also a forerunner of the later tradition of rallying Mitsubishis, not exactly setting the world on fire itself, but helping to pave the way for the later Evos that would follow. Before we move on, we'd just like to say thank you very much for watching this video. All of us at GR&R really appreciate it. And if you do enjoy it, hit that like button and ding the bell icon, and then we will go on and talk about one of the most important cars, if not the most important car, in Mitsubishi's entire history. The Shogun was revealed as a teaser to the world of the 1981 Tokyo Motor Show, at which point absolutely no one could probably have foreseen that it would go on to become one of the world's major workhorses. In May 1982, the Pajero arrived on sale, beginning a line that would last for nearly 40 years. When it arrived in the UK, the importers, still selling cars as Colts, had to crowbar off both the Mitsubishi badge and also the Pajero name for its new Shogun moniker. It wasn't long before that badge count changed, as Colt finally ditched the slightly weird name change and began to flog cars as Mitsubishis at last. And if you had a Colt already, you could bring your car in and have it changed into a Mitsubishi for no extra cost. The Shogun was pretty much the car that made Mitsubishi at last a proper player in Europe's nascent SUV sector, and even more so worldwide. The first Shogun's rock-solid reputation would carry any successor SUVs as Mitsubishi expanded, no matter how mediocre they may be. Oh, and it also wasn't called Pajero in Spanish-speaking countries, because there, Pajero means, it means self-love. As a new decade dawned, Mitsubishi wanted to celebrate, and it decided to do so by reviving the Colt GTO name, but only in Japan. Here, we got the renamed 3000 GT, a high-performance sporting coupe co-developed with Chrysler and flogged in the US as the Dodge Stealth. In the UK, the 3000 GT was part of a wave of new Japanese coupes arriving on the market, pitched against the Toyota Supra, the Nissan 3000ZX, Mazda RX-7 and the unloved but probably underrated Subaru SVX. The 3000 GT was blessed with a twin-turbocharged 3-litre V6 producing 324 horsepower, a long way from the original GTO's 115 horsepower. It also had a 5-speed Getrag gearbox and a complicated, for the time, all-wheel drive system. A technical tour de force, it also had active aerodynamics and a 45-55 torque split. As a result, the 3000 GT could hit 62 miles an hour in just 5.5 seconds. The later 3000 GT VR4 come out to 4.8. Ever since they arrived on the market, the Lancer line of family saloons could quite easily have been described in one word: forgettable. To tell someone in the 1970s that one day that Lancer would be the stuff of child bedroom dreams, winning WRC championships and becoming a poster car of performance, well, they'd think you'd lost it. But that's what they did. With its rallying success, including 4 titles for Tommi Makinen, Mitsubishi was able to spawn a cult series of speedy road cars under the Evo banner. 10 generations of Evo followed, based on 4 different platforms. Frustratingly for us in the UK, we couldn't officially buy any of the first 5 from Mitsubishi UK, making the 6th in line, called the Evo 6, because what Mitsubishi had in engineering know-how, it appeared to lack in marketing creativity, even more special to us. As the UK's single vehicle approval rules began to see more and more Evos imported into the UK, the powers that be began to catch on, and finally made them available for people to buy with proper manufacturer support. All of the first 9 Evos had a version of the legendary 4G63T 4-cylinder turbocharged engine in various states of tune from 260 to 400 horsepower. The higher versions were actually tuned in-house in the UK by Mitsubishi's Rally Art division. On the 11th of July 2000, a Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution was finally officially sold in the UK, with the first car registered being an Evo 6 Tommi Makinen edition. Sold directly through Rally Art, these first 250 Evos were specially prepared for UK markets with extra corrosion protection, MPH instruments, some extra security measures, and a myriad of other wild things, including rear fog lamps and even an owner's manual specific to the UK. It wasn't cheap though. In 2000, a Tommi Makinen Evo would cost you £32,995 or over £50,000 today. But with only 250 made today, they are now changing hands for around £150,000. Imagine telling anyone that a Lancer would sell for that in 1974. After the Evo 6 was a critical and commercial success in the UK, every following version of the Evo was instantly made available in Europe. This culminated in the terribly named, but terribly good to drive, Mitsubishi Lancer Evo X FQ-440 MR, which arrived in 2015. To showcase the Evo's success, these sold out in a matter of hours, but that was partly because they only sold 40 in the UK. The swan song for the Evo would have cost you £50,000 at the time and acted as a fitting farewell to the bloodline. Mitsubishi, by this point, had long left rallying, and was in the process alongside rival Subaru of shifting back to what its bread and butter around the world was: much less exciting cars. Those are some Mitsubishis that have set our lives on fire and make us think, God, I wish they still sold cars here. But which ones do you love the most? And especially if it's not Evos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10, let us know in the comments below.